There's that fucking side guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live. 5 in the Eagle Free Network, Rumble X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in iNewsWire. On Rumble, of course, we'll join the Mighty Met 1490 AM broadcasting all over the Inland Empire at the bottom of the hour. But the lead story, woman throws dog over fence and plastic in a brutal animal abuse story, it appears. Man, I don't know what people are thinking at times, but here is ABC7 report. Here we go.
To brutal animal abuse caught on surveillance video. A woman seen here carrying a small dog in a plastic bag and tossing it like trash over a fence at an Anaheim Veterinary Center. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher joining us now with more on the dog's recovery and what police are saying about this tonight. Michelle?
Mark, this is the type of video that makes your jaw drop and your heart break. It is truly heinous. And tonight we're hearing from the vet also who discovered this injured dog. We do want to warn our viewers that this video is disturbing.
I can't find words to describe why anybody would do something like that.
It's hard to watch and even harder to understand. This disturbing video capturing the moment a woman callously discards a dog in a plastic bag, throwing the animal over a wall in the middle of the night and then casually walking away.
He landed right here, and by the grace of God, his bag opened up, and you could just see that he's walking around dazed, confused.
Dr. Ash Hakamian was initially surprised Wednesday morning when he discovered the dog in the back of his clinic, University Veterinary Center in Anaheim, not knowing at first the horrible way it had ended up there.
We decided to review the security camera footage, and to our disappointment, we found that the pet was placed there by being thrown over the fence. He face planted. That's what broke his fall, was his face.
In addition to the trauma and severe bruising, Dr. Akamian says the dog is severely anemic, malnourished, and was covered in fleas.
His nails are so long, they have curled and gone back into his paw. That's the type of neglect that precedes this trauma.
This is absolutely undescribable, heartbreaking. What can you say about a story? The callous of that. And it was lucky that it was hard for him to see, like you said, you got a face plant, but that probably did break the plastic bag open where he could get out. I mean, he just suffocated in the darn bag. Man, sometimes some of these stories are not easy, I would say, to report, but I hope they find the woman. We'll see how that goes. And if she is guilty of any sort of crimes, hope she gets punished to the fullest extent of the law. We're going to have more updates on the breaking news that came out on Dana Williamson, Sean McCluskey, Alexis Podesta, and all that, of the hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars that were stolen out of campaign funds. They're both chiefs of staff for Newsom and Javier Baccaria, as Biden calls him. Look at this biased or inaccurate, if not outright lying. And ABC 10 can come in and dispute this, but there's no way this is even close on the reporting. We'll get into some more of this, but here we go.
Be absolutely clear, neither Newsom nor Becerra are accused of any wrongdoing in this case. Supporters of Williamson say they think President Trump is trying to find dirt on Newsom.
Hold it. This lying sack of BS over here, reporter. Trump trying to find dirt? This started in 2022, you moron. I mean, holy cow. That was Joe Biden was president. It wasn't Trump digging up dirt. Oh, we'll get more into this. Katie Grimes, the great reporter, and Jen Van Laar are on top of this, and they've got more updates. Plus, We have an update at Sean McCluskey. One of the ones that's already pleaded out was in federal court today. We didn't have any info on what happened there. We haven't got, but if it does break on the show, we will let you know on that. Newsom thinks he's badass and he's untouchable. And I think that's why Dana Williamson and McCluskey thought they could steal money, either, allegedly or admittedly. This is what the cat said. The Department of Justice is suing him over the maps and Prop 50. He says these losers lost in the ballot box and soon they will lose in court. Gavin Newsom in response to the DOJ's lawsuit. Mind you, Dana the Hammer Williamson, who is now facing 23 counts in a federal indictment and was Newsom's head of chief of staff, was the architect of Izzy and the crew and Gavin Newsom running this kind of stuff out on social media. So that's why she has a reputation of being the hammer, and Jen Van Laar blows out some of the stuff that we'll get back later on the hammer. This stuff is going to get flat interesting as we move forward. Doctor was interviewed on Fox News about the ever increasing Trump derangement syndrome that's been plaguing the nation, and it's really a thing, and it's really increasing. And if people don't get their, let's say get their heads screwed on straight, trying to be nice again, we're in a whole deep bandini of trouble. The National Republican, California Republicans, the Republican Party has absolutely no freaking clue. The latest polling, they don't get anything that's going on. They don't get why they're getting their ass handed to them a year after Trump getting elected. We'll get into some of the numbers here in a bit, but they're not, for the insiders, they're not surprising, but I don't know how anybody in good conscience can be a member of the Republican Party or the Democrat Party for that matter, too. Trump demands Department of Justice probe Epstein's links to Democrats. Another Russian scam is what he's talking about. He named names today of Bill Clinton, a lot of them out there. JP Morgan, the names he said, go investigate them. We'll see how this all shakes out, but it's going to be very, as they say, very, very, very interesting on the probe. This one, 2 in 5 younger women want to leave the U.S. permanently. This is Republicans do not get the phenomena that's going on and why people voted for Trump and why they're voting less than a year later for Mandami and crew. And this is another phenomenon, and JD's got it just right. They don't care if they have to burn down the entire country to get Trump. From Newsom to Jeffries to Schumer, the good news is, in a lot of respect, it's backfiring in some spots, but in some spots, it's catching a wildfire that may not be easy to stop. Bobby Kennedy and crew have gotten 31 states to rise up and ban geoengineering and reclaim American skies. Maybe we'll get rid of these. At least the government, the Schumer shutdown had them not spraying as much because they didn't have money to do it, spraying in the skies with the planes and stuff. That stuff needs to stop. 1,000%. Let's cut off the chemicals going up in the air. It's ridiculous. Good job there, the 31 states that banned them. We need more. Porterville, California, is what's about 50 miles north of Bakersfield or so. So, you used to have a racetrack at the fairgrounds too. But they had some pretty interesting videos going up
Porterville.
out there. I'm Gavin. I destroyed California. Highest gas prices in the nation. This is a good old Porterville. We're not totally lost yet. Record crime, violence, and homelessness. I love this. We need to get a campaign, yes, to put these billboards all across the area. Yes, I'm Gavin. I destroyed California with my bad ideas. Nothing could be further from the truth. What a loathsome individual he is. Eric Swalwell, best known for banging Fang Fang, the Chinese spy, and is a congressman out here in California, and one of the main Trump derangement syndrome nutcases like Adam Schiff and the crew. He's been indicted on mortgage fraud. Here we go. We thought.
Democrat Congressman Eric Swalwell has been criminally referred to the Department of Justice accused of mortgage fraud. Senior White House correspondent Peter Du.
So, good old Swalwell, yes, and put the old red in front of him. Red Chinese Swalwell. It has a address at a relative's house up in Northern California. And he is another one that put on, I bought a $1.2 million deal in Washington, D.C., and on his mortgage, he put down that is his principal residence. He may be joining Letitia James on the hot seat and maybe, hopefully, in the Gray Bar Motel. Little Stevie Hernandez, Coachella mayor, embattled. He's facing what? 9 charges, 5 felonies and 4 misdemeanors under conflicts of interest, enriching his own accounts as being a mayor, and maybe even his influence as chief of staff of Manny Perez, although that hasn't been substantiated yet by the district attorney. We will see what they have. Little Stevie is under they're planning or looking at running a censure at city council on little Stevie, who didn't have the guts enough. Little Stevie didn't have guts enough to show up at Wednesday's city council meeting and preside over it because he didn't feel well. Well, I'll give him that. If I was facing a 9-count indictment from the district attorney, I probably wouldn't be feeling well myself of that. Again, we brought it to you many times. Catholic Charities was one of the ones that was bringing the illegals up here under Biden, 20 or 30 million strong. Now, the new Pope is criticizing the United States of America, our esteemed President, Donald J. Trump, Tom Homan, and everyone who is deporting people in our country illegally and putting them back in the country or the place they should be, not where they're illegally or lawfully residing. Again, this is almost unbelievable if it weren't true.
Pastors, we, the bishops of the United States, are bound to our people by ties of communion and compassion in our Lord Jesus Christ. And we are disturbed when we see among our people a climate of fear and anxiety around questions of profiling and immigration enforcement.
We are saddened by the state of contemporary debate and the vilification of immigrants. We are concerned about the conditions in detention centers and the lack of access.
Oh yeah, we're just torturing everybody over here, and we're beating them with whips and chains. Like was the allegation before? Remember when they had the pictures out there, the Border Patrol, that Maxine Waters was going crazy? These guys have no clue. Zero. And they're whipping up as representing the Catholic Church, supposedly representing the Word of God, that you are an evil people for upholding the law. Let that sink in. We'll have this and much, much more as we go along in the show, and we don't avoid the real issues, and we will tell you 111% how it is. That's what we aim to do. The Pope of the Catholic Church bashing Trump, Tom Homan, the United States, taking the money, the billions of dollars to help Joe Biden do illegalities, break the law, and bring people into this country illegally. And then to have the moxie guts, him and the bishops to come out and condone us. You can fight it out. If you think the immigration policy is wrong in the United States, we have a Congress, we have representatives, even though we're getting crooked out of them in California. Fight it there in the battle. Don't be doing illegal crap and then calling us out on it. Then calling us out for trying and calling the people out who are following the law, the rule of law, and being really kind to their fellow man. Because they know they're supplying the 21st century slaves, sex slaves, labor slaves. They just busted Bumblebee tuna down there. Same thing, oh, they're, allegations. They're abusing the ones working at the plant and on the ships, illegals. No. We've said this a million times, and the Catholic Church and those bishops and the Pope are condoning that. And not only condoning it, supplying the labor to put people under bondage and slavery. Not to mention the pedophilia and everything else that's went on over there, and probably still going on today. Again, that takes Gavin Newsom, Bill Clinton, Joe Stalin type of moxie to stand up there and do that, and to want to, and to willfully put your fellow man in bondage and chains. I don't know where it comes from, and any of you want to come in and debate this, please. The seats and microphones are open. We'll have a discussion about it. Because, again, tacit agreement. If you will not come in 100% and dispute, correct what I'm saying, face to face, live and in living color, not hiding behind some sort of tape or pulpit or something you control, then you are agreeing with what I'm saying. And we won't get to a solution of this, of the whole overall problem. And that has been my biggest issue with unlawful and illegal immigration, because you're putting those people in bondage and slavery. They do not have the same rights as you. Go look at the law. People do not, in the United States, they don't have full due process rights or anything else. They have limited. course, they don't teach you that in school anymore. Because knowledge is power, and they don't want you, the people, to have any power. They want to keep it all to the 1.3% themselves, from the Dana the Hammer Williamsons to the Joe Bidens to the Vladimir Putins to the ping pong over in China and all points in between. We'll hit, as we get to the Mighty Met KMT, we'll hit the latest on Dana the Hammer Williamson and the 2 million. Now it's getting into millions, I think, of the allegations of stolen money from the insiders and bigwigs of California politics. It's amazing. It really is. Between the dog getting, put in a plastic bag and thrown away like trash to this and everything else, I don't know.
30 seconds, Roy.
Gotta stop myself before I say something I really probably shouldn't. But as Sean said, we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMT to pick up with this and some of the other stories in the last half hour of this week of that, where 3 drops of rain and every other newscast is acting like there's 150-mile-an-hour gale force winds going to blow us all
Here
away.
we go. 10 seconds.
Hillbilly hoedown around.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky side guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned AM band. Join our vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in iNewsWire on Rumble. Man, what a day. The lead story, and it's heartbreaking. The lady takes, I kid you not, poor innocent little dog, puts him in a plastic bag, throws him over the vet's fence. Fortunately, like at midnight or something, the poor thing's around there get half dazed and confused. Hopefully the vet will get him back in shape of that. But it really makes you want to leave. It really does. It makes it hard to keep faith in humanity. Let's put it that way when you see stuff like that. And I hope they find this woman, and I hope they find multiple charges they can convict this woman on of all kinds of things, because people like that do not need to be walking around as free people amongst us. That's my take, opinion, however you want to take it. Everybody can have theirs. That's mine. Bobby Kennedy looks like he's got 31 states to stop spraying us, the chemtrails and the planes and all that. It's good that we got 31. That means there's 19 to go. I'm almost sure that we won't be in that. Doctor says Trump derangement syndrome is getting really, really, really real of that. And Mudge, hopefully we'll get a chance to update why 4 in 10 young women want to leave the U.S. and much, much more. But we want to update the Dana the Hammer Williamson story. The former chief of staff of Gavin Newsom accused of stealing $225,000. One of her co-conspirators, Sean McCluskey, was chief of staff of Javier Baccaria, former congressman and head of HHS under Biden, attorney general, I believe, here. And there was part of the campaign's funds they stole, 225 grand they bagged out of his campaign funds. But this is the disingenuous part of it. ABC 10, which is up in NorCal, and the reporterette leads off with this kind of tripe. I mean, you just can't hardly make this stuff up.
Since then, it has made national headlines. Now, to be absolutely clear, neither Newsom nor Becerra are accused of any wrongdoing in this case. Supporters of Williamson say they think President Trump is trying to find dirt on Newsom, his political foe.
Shut up. This started in 2025. 2022. It's 2025. Joe Biden was president. For 2 years, the investigation went on under Joe Biden. Now it's, of course, Donald Trump has taken over. He's in a year, and they've made the final charges on it. Now, taking 3 years is absolutely ridiculous, but more and more and more to the point of what the hell is going on. But this is, the BBC cutting the Trump tapes and on and on and on we can go. And why does it always seem to be the extreme left-wing media that gives you all these, they're just blatantly propaganda artists at worst, if not just flat outright lying. It's really unbelievable. I want to get to Katie Grimes and Jen Van Laar have some great reporting that they've done background on this. They're two of the firecrackers on the print media, along with Ashley Zavala and KCRA3, unlike the ding dong over there on ABC 10. You saying something is Trump is trying to dig up dirt. Holy Christ. Of that. But anyway, here's Katie Grimes in her site, California Globe, of that. Is Gavin Newsom paid to play politics using his wife's nonprofits as a political slush fund? This, in the aftermath, they're part of the problem, or this is what Katie might be saying what's been going on. Of course, this all started again in 2022 with the lockdowns and everything, and Gavin Newsom doing that. He was back there accepting an education award back in the District of Criminals in recognition for their improvements in education. Well, then again, there's another lie. We were going downhill and went downhill further. We were the worst of the worst during COVID. We went downhill. We took the once greatest education system in the world, the state of California, K through university, and throwed it in the trash. As Katie points out, California ranks 50th in the country for literacy. Well, you can't get any worse than that, unless you want to include the 57 states Obama has said. Of course, Slow Joe was out of the country, and Biden was meeting with Kamala, Chief of Staff Rod Klain, and First Lady, and probably one of the real co-presidents, Joe Biden. Sources in D.C. shared with the Globe that Newsom's arrogance and entitlement assumption that he was next in line for the presidency displeased a lot of top Democrats. Some in the media said Newsom was White House hunting while in D.C. Also in 22, when it was a 3-year investigation began on Dana Williamson's, Governor Newsom's chief of staff. So, ABC 10 reporter, here it is. Trump was not president and wasn't president for 2 years while this investigation was going on. The indictment, as we know, directed 10 grand from Javier Bacuria's dormant state campaign account for non-consulting fees, or for non-existent consulting services for work done by Dana Williamson, Sean McCluskey, Alexis Podesta, which my understanding is Sean McCluskey's wife, and one other co-conspirator on that to bag that much. McGregor Scott told the media Wednesday that the FBI had also asked Williamson to assist in an investigation into Newsom, but she told him she had no knowledge of the wrongdoing. Katie Grimes goes along to, and we discussed it yesterday with Susan Shelley, the behested payments. Newsom has directed more than $226.5 million in behested payments in 2022 when COVID emerged. Reportedly raised $14 million of the practice in 2024. We got tagged, or he raised 226 during COVID. No wonder we're buying $2 billion worth of masks from the Chinese that were worth at best 10% of that, or about $200 million. Financial disclosures cite slated purpose of these donations. For instance, Goldman Sachs Philanthropy Fund mentions working group implementation of that. Last December, Newsom announced the master plan project to create a new statewide planning body for workforce training. They also said $100 million taxpayer money will fund it. Does that sound like pay to play to you? He was fined $13,000 for failing to report it on time. Not that it was he just said he didn't report it. $700,000 from two major law firms that both created and defended his executive order to repeal the death penalty rules and dismantle the death chamber at San Quentin. James Lacey reported that. He invested $3.5 million in 2018, the year he was elected governor. In 2019, he reported payments of $12 million. The Orange County Register reported in 2020 at the pandemic. Here it is. There's a whopping $226 million, according to the FPPC. Blue Shield of California now, why is Blue Shield of California in the housing business? $45 million from them? And they get all these contracts of that besides jacking the healthcare costs. Same with United Health, donated $220,000 to political committees controlled by Newsom, who was later awarded $492 million in contracts. That's a hell of a return. The Free Beacon has reported Gaston Rancheria contributed $500,000 to his wife's charity, the California Partners Project, in 2025. Gaston Rancheria received another $5,000 from his wife's charity to donate another that. The tribe cut those checks specifically at Newsom's request, according to California's Best Payments Database, which discloses that the state will never does. While the data does not show an explicit quid pro quo between Newsom and Gaston Rancheria, several ethics experts told the Washington Free Beacon that Newsom's charitable solicitations from the tribe to his wife's charity just before he used the powers of his office to try and block its rival from opening a competing casino raises major red flags. Duh. No kidding. Governor Newsom helped bankroll his wife's charity to nearly $2 million unsolicited from Native American tribes while fighting on their behalf of the against rival casinos. Of course, the stuff that Jenny Poo, wifey, is all in the gender justice and all this other champions of gender, all these films she's making. It's a complete, in my view, scam. If it's legal, it's barely borderline illegal, but it should be criminal as all hell. It's blatantly saying, if you don't pay me X, Y, and Z, you're not going to get this. I don't know how else you slice those apples. Jen Van Laar from Red State has some more interference in Activision lawsuit. Williamson is charged with making multiple false statements to the FBI investigators, in which, while she served at the state government, she never shared inside information with members of the collaborative company. She allegedly discussed controversial lawsuits between the state activism with Podesta on numerous occasions. She orchestrated a settlement with the state, and the chief counsel fired. The council objected to the governor's interference. Of course, she said she was effed if the public records requests were done, which appears to be happening. On top of that, Jen Van Laar, in this article, and it's noted one of the excuses, Dana the Hammer Williamson, why she couldn't be prosecuted or why they had to be delayed, was she's getting a liver transplant. Well, Jen Van Laar is produced or made mention in her article that it was well known Dana the Hammer Williamson loved to tip the bottle. Kind of like Gavin Newsom while Pacific Palisades was burning down. According to his friend, he's getting soused on tequila, complaining that Trump's blaming him for this and he's looking bad. While people are being killed, their lives being destroyed, their property and homes gone. And then he goes down to Brazil and blames it on climate change. While senators, Florida and Wisconsin senators, Rick Scott and Ron Johnson are up here holding hearings, trying to help these poor people in Palisades and Altadena whose lives have been destroyed. Do you see Newsom, Dana the Hammer Williamson, Javier Baccaria, who's running for governor, Sean McCluskey, or anybody else helping? Our senators, our California senators, Adam Pencilneck Schiff, and Alex the Dork Padilla. They don't even say nothing. Screw you, Californians. After Williamson's arrest, her attorney said she had severe health issues and was recently put out on the waiting list for a liver transplant. There have been concerns throughout Sacramento political circles for years about the 53-year-old's heavy drinking, so it's not surprising. This is another one. Given the fact that he believes, this is her attorney, the Fed shouldn't have descended upon her home arrest her without warning. It's my experience an arrest warrant is only issued for people who have committed violent crimes and are on the flight risk, and there are absolutely no reason to arrest them like that. Da, 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 da. Has he heard of Rudy Giuliani? Who was dragged out of his home? Roger Stone, dragged out of his home, not violent, because they were associated with Trump, or over election fraud, or this and that, or whatever they were trying to prove. No criminality, no nothing. Dragged, doors beat down, dragged out of their homes at 5 o'clock in the morning in their underwear. Oh, that doesn't happen. It happened under the frickin' Joe Biden administration. Multiple, and there were a lot of private citizens that went on across this that were J6ers and everything else that were dragged out on trespassing charge. Misdemeanors. Oh, I'm not aware of any. Go stuff it, write it. Don't lie about stuff. At best, quit putting out the misinformation. Because I'm pretty sure McGregor Scott or whoever her attorney, whoever said this, they know all this. They're in the loop. Vaya caramba, man. Holy bejesus. Sometimes this stuff just makes you wonder so hard. Want to hit this one real quick. Trump derangement syndrome. There's a doc saying it's really bad. I'm seeing it all the time.
With me now. So first of all, identify it for us. You're in a session and you pick up on what?
Well, Harris, it doesn't take long for me to pick up on this. People are obsessed with Trump. they're fixated, they're hyper fixated on Trump. And they talk about some of the features of this disorder. They can't sleep. They feel traumatized by Mr. Trump. They feel restless. I had one patient who said she couldn't enjoy a vacation because anytime she saw Trump in the news or on her device, she felt triggered. So this is a profound pathology, and I would even go so far as to call it the defining pathology of our time.
Defining pathology of our time. This stuff is getting flat serious. 84% of women 18 to 29 voted for Mandami. We ran the statistics. Four out of 10 women, 15 to 44, want to leave the U.S. Men is less than half. Same with women over 45 is 14 and 8, almost half. But 40%, and they did, and you know, this is, and you know why? They voted, the ones that voted for Trump, and they went, they've reversed in the Mandani, the Virginia and everything elections, they're flipping. They don't care. They just want it fixed. They want opportunity. They want the opportunity they've seen with their parents and grandparents, the opportunity to start a family in a home. Now they've got $100,000 in college debt with a degree they can't, that there is no opportunity for, there is no job for. They want you to do 50 years on them, which is a dumb idea for over the 50 years, except just to get somebody in the house. I get that part of it, but he didn't explain it right. 50 grand, average car. You're looking at that. You don't care what, really, at that point, you just want it fixed. They thought Trump was going to do it. They don't see him working fast enough. Hopefully, he's releasing the Epstein files. He's going to crack down more on this immigration stuff. Don't be couching this HB1 visa thing. That's what one thing they want. They want them out. They don't want them taking their jobs. Just like they busted the Bumblebee plant down there in San Diego. They're holding from those picking the fruit to those getting the tuna fish out of the ground or out of the ocean, to those working in the tech that they're hiring at half the rate. That's what they see going down the drain. And that's what they're pissed about. And that's why they got Trump derangement system. They want to leave the country because they think they have no future. And they don't see nobody sticking up for them. Hardly. Man, I wish people would pay more attention. You don't have time to get in the polling. Maybe we'll do it. The Republican Party, Republican National Committee, they got the polling that shows this in the last year how things have turned around. And they're not doing a darn thing. Or they're oblivious or they're stupid. I don't think they're stupid. Release the dang Epstein files, which seems like we're finally going to get Johnson. Seems like he's going to do. And Trump said, hey, Bondi, go after these guys. And they should. There were people who were doing, if there are pedos, and I don't care if they're Prince Andrew to somebody from a vagrant walking down the street, they deserve to be in frickin' jail. And probably for the rest of their lives. Want to touch on this because it's election integrity and stuff, and this is kind of mind-blowing. Hopefully we'll get to that. This is from NBC Palm Springs on our elections, but here we go.
The county is piloting an automated signature verification tool designed to boost the accuracy and efficiency of the vote-by-mail process. This advanced system compares signatures on ballot envelopes to those on voter registration files, quickly confirming valid signatures and flagging any discrepancies for review.
Now that sounds okay and it sounds plausible, but like I said, how do we know? Even so, how do we know it's if we're going to go vote by mail, then we need, like we discussed with Susan, then we need to verify that everybody on the voter roll is a legal and lawful citizen eligible to vote. But this is the troubling part of this. It sounds like, oh, we got this new technology to come in and do this. This is Art Tomiko. He's head of the Registrar of Voters. Here's what he had to say.
There is for this technology to be able to review the signature on the envelope and for the system be set at a threshold from 0 to 100 confidence level. Right now, surrounding counties and our county, we're doing a 45% confidence threshold.
45%?
Officials say
45%. Now, I'm going to get a hold of Art and see, because I don't want to say that that doesn't even sound plausible. If you're only at a 45% accuracy rate on the signature verification, and what, 80% of the ballots or whatever, it's a high it's got to be at least over 3/4 are coming in by mail-in ballot. And the only ID part you got is the signature, and you're only getting a 45% accuracy rate? Holy freaking cow. That's all. Again, we keep saying this, but it's mind-boggling how we even get ourselves in this sort of condition. I don't know. I really don't. Here's the guy. One thing we want to get to. Little Stevie Hernandez, as we said, the embattled Coachella mayor, who's under a 9-count county indictment, 5 felonies, 4 misdemeanors of conflicts of interest, perjury. The council in Coachella is making motions or putting procedures in to censure him. He did not show up for Wednesday's city council meeting with the excuse he didn't feel well. He didn't have guts enough to show up. If he ain't got guts enough to show up, resign from being mayor, little Stevie. And I mean, I get it. If I was facing a 9-count indictment, I probably wouldn't feel well too. But the amount of things that just make you want to scream is absolutely unbelievable. Keep out of the rain this weekend. Figure out how to do something fun inside for this weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Take it away, Sean.
All right, Roy. Yeah, it never surprises me. I mean, how much corruption there are in these cities. I swear to God, man.
It runs in every facet, in every corner of it. It's just getting, I don't know.
How do these people do it, man? I really.
They've been getting away with it so long, they think it's standard operating procedure. And they haven't been called on it for the most part. It isn't going to stop until we start putting people in jail.
Well, yeah, true. And
that'll start getting their attention, because then all the other once you can put a few of them in, the others are going to say, "Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to go there."
that's the problem with the main government too. I mean, there's so much talk, but there's any of these people ever show up, in the orange jumpsuits that should be, I mean, what the hell, man?
It is, until we start putting people in jail, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, well, I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately.
So far you've been very correct.
Oh my God, man. Jesus. All right, I'll talk to you Monday.
Got it.
Bye.